the end of a war, there are two questions that loom large. Was it worth it? And how do you end it? History gets to decide the former. We get to decide the latter. And right now we've chosen to end it with profound shame. There is still a chance to snatch a minor moral victory out of the jaws of a very strategic defeat. We get one shot at it. You know, the nightmare scenario for us was what we called, it would have been the Trump abandonment. It would have been just leaving these people behind outright without doing a damn thing. But this is a close second, right? For what is a nightmare scenario. You have one airfield. That airfield has one working runway, right? And you've told everyone in Afghanistan that that is the X, and the only way to get out and get away from the Taliban forever is to get to the X. The advice that we're all being given is, if you get people who get there, they need to be prepared to wait up to 9 to 10 hours in horrifically hot, humid conditions with no water, no food, no bathroom, just the worst possible conditions you can think of. Because on top of that, the Taliban are shooting indiscriminately into the crowd and over everybody's head. It's just complete and total chaos. American citizens, I've got friends who have told me that they've had literally US citizens standing in the crowd, waving their blue passport, screaming, "I'm a US citizen," and the Marines can't come get them. Just the other night, I was on the phone with a relative on speakerphone using my rank and my status as a veteran to try to get her through a checkpoint and talk to a Marine on post to explain who this person was and why she, as an American citizen, needed to get through. The rest of our family was there behind her. They're not US citizens yet, and they weren't allowed in. So she had to make the heartbreaking decision to leave her family behind. And that is being played out over and over and over again. It is complete chaos. And what has happened is there's been an army of veterans who we all just started getting pinged by the Afghans that we know and still maintain times with, saying, okay, this is the deal. You got to get to the airport. Let's start trying to get you inside. These people that we're talking about, they were our eyes and ears on the battlefield. When we would go on a mission, we carried these radios called ICOM radios, and you could hear the Taliban talking to us. And just before we would get shot at, you would hear them instruct their fighters, shoot the eyes first. The eyes were the code word for the interpreters. The very first thing that the unit did that we were replacing was pull us aside and say, guys, these are your interpreters. These are the Terps. You need to listen to whatever it is that they're telling you to do. They're going to save your life. I was in Afghanistan for a year. When I came home from my tour of duty, I got to come home to the greatest country on the planet. These people went on to the next unit and the next mission over and over again. And through that experience, they became the experts on the ground. You know, we would roll into a village and Janice would tap me on the shoulder and be like, something's wrong here. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, well, normally when we come here, that guy comes out with tea and those kids are over there playing with a soccer ball and there's no one around. This is a bad thing. We usually get attacked when it's like this. And then, 5 minutes later, we're getting shot at. That type of insight saves lives. That type of insight can only be provided by someone who's on the ground. One day, Google and Apple might be able to facilitate and replace the need for a human to, in real time, translate what's being spoken, but that cultural context cannot ever be replaced other than by standing next to someone who came from there. They were often kids when they joined, just like a lot of us were. They were, a lot of them were 18, 19, some of them probably lied about their age. Some of these people have been serving since the initial years of the war. They're now, like me, people in their middle age with children. They didn't have families to think about. They have families to think about now. From the Taliban's perspective, they won. And these are the people who have been helping us to kill them over the last 20 years, them and their families. They want revenge. They want retribution. There's no place for these people in Afghanistan.
Right now we're talking, they already started going searching houses and they're looking for the documents of the people who worked for the US government. They're trying to take their family members. Time is running out. The US is pulling out soon their soldiers, maybe in the next couple of days, and still I'm going to have my family left there and I'm not able to do for them anything to be able to save their life.
What we're realizing is, as much as the Taliban might be saying they're letting people get to the airport, they have checkpoints everywhere now. And if you have an English document on you in that checkpoint, they take away the document and they make note that you're now on their list. And so that's why you're seeing this chaos at the airport. You're literally seeing people throw babies over the wall right now in the hopes that if they can get their kids inside, the Americans will then be forced to let the adults inside to join the children. People who are desperate enough to bucket brigade style pass their kids forward in line because that's the best hope they have. That should be all the reason we need to know that we need to go in and save these people. We would never tolerate the scenes that are currently going on at Kabul airport if they were Americans. We have to do everything in our power now to go in and get them and take them out as we leave. People like me look these people in the eye when we were often standing in battle together, right? And said, hey, listen, Janice saved my life. I promised him that if I could ever had the opportunity to repay that life debt, I would do so. And I'm thankful I got to fulfill it for him. But there are now thousands of others who Americans made just as equal and just as important of a promise, who are being betrayed and left behind. And if we don't get them out, there is no future for them in Afghanistan. I would love for someone to call up and say, Major Zeller, you need to put your uniform on. You're being sent to Afghanistan to help out with this. I don't know of a single veteran that I've spoken with who feels any differently. To a person, every one of us wants to go and get these people out and be done with it. If you served in the Afghan war and you still care about these people, chances are you're probably part of the digital Dunkirk. We had a list of names, particularly a list of names that came from the Association of Wartime Allies, that we were confident we knew where these people were in country and how to reach them probably faster than the government could. And so we started trying to offer it to the government because we realized we need to start moving these people now. If we're really all collapsing back to Kabul, then folks in the outlying provinces need to be advised to move while they can. This digital Dunkirk really started a couple of weeks ago when a coalition of organizations, human rights organizations, veterans organizations, a faith-based organizations, a political advocacy organization. Everyone's getting involved with this. I'm spending most of my nighttime texting with Afghans, telling them, no, this is the gate you now got to go try and get to. Oh, well, here's where this Taliban checkpoint is. You got to take this street to literally get around them. It's incredible. We've had intel analysts who have come out and started doing satellite imagery analysis and actually putting together products for people where they're mapping out Taliban checkpoints in real time using social media data to try to give people, okay, this is the route you need to get to this gate to get around this checkpoint. It's not just veterans, it's pastors, right? It's my mom, it's my relatives, people who never served in Afghanistan, spouses of had people who served in, widowers, children of people who served. Again, this is a whole of America effort that's going on. Minus the one guy who can give, the only guy who can give the order to actually truly save these people. The Taliban have said somehow that apparently we have to be gone by the 31st of August. We shouldn't let the Taliban dictate to us. We're the United States of America. We're still the most powerful military on the planet. I was appalled that the Secretary of Defense said he didn't have the ability to guarantee the safe movement of Americans to the airport in Kabul.
I don't have the capability to go out and extend operations currently into Kabul.
He absolutely does. He has the United States military. What he doesn't have is the orders to move those people. I can't imagine what it must be like for the poor, and I merely mean this, for the guys in the men and women in the 82nd Airborne and the Marine Corps units who are there right now, who have to stand 50 meters away from the Taliban and watch them be thugs and not be able to do a damn thing about it. And unless we go and try to take control over it, the status quo is going to remain. And it's only a matter of time before we start taking casualties of our own. At the end of a war, there are two questions that loom large. Was it worth it? And how do you end it? History gets to decide the former. We get to decide the latter. And right now we've chosen to end it with profound shame. There is still a chance to snatch a minor moral victory out of the jaws of a very strategic defeat. And that is the saving of our entirety, all of them, every last one of them, of these Afghan wartime allies and their families. We get one shot at it. If we don't do it now, they're going to be dead, and we'll regret for the rest of our lives having failed them.